Hello everybody, this is a very large object here, and I'm here to give you a review of not one mouse, not two mouses, not three mice, but four. So this video is going to focus on what's the best value mouse that Logitech makes. Now this is going to be a value of under $100 because this mouse here is at $100 without any sale or anything. Now this mouse to me personally is going to be probably a go-to for quite a few people. It does have its nice little rainbow puke RGB and has the hero sensor with the Lightspeed wireless dongle. So that being said, one of these mice is not like the other, and it's not too hard to point it out. And that is the old, trusty, kind of mangy G502 that I've had for the past 6 years. Now, this mouse is still for sale in the wireless configuration. That's a little more expensive. I think you can still find this wired for around $50. And I do consider this mouse quite an icon, to be honest. It does share the same sensor as these two as well. This one I think uses a separate sensor. So that being said, I think we should get into each mouse individually. And we're going to start with technically the cheapest when it came out. And that is this little white guy, the G305 that I started this video off with. And this thing is light, very light. If you need something that is going to be great for flicking and moving the mouse around, not having to worry about momentum. When you move a mouse one way, you want to make sure that you can quickly move it the other way. So it's really good for Twitch shooters and MOBAs and the like. That being said, if you need a mouse that will last you quite a while, this one actually will last you about 3 months on a single battery, which is pretty nice. You don't have to worry about, oh man, my mouse is running dead, I need to plug it in or charge it. And it has that going for it. The only problem I would have to say with this mouse, I guess two problems with this mouse, is, of course, the shape. My hand is around, I guess, I would say the average size of a male hand here. I will give the exact size in centimeters and inches just to make sure that everyone is included there to help determine whether they need something smaller or larger, depending on, of course, this video here. This shape, it's so shallow. It's very flat. It's a lot like the Apple's Magic Mouse in terms of its shape. And that is good if you want to take this mouse on the go. It's going to be a great travel mouse if you're going to be playing games on the go. The only problem, of course, with that is it will become very fatiguing over time because you have to more arch your fingers when you are holding it. You can't just lay them flat because your palm will scrape against the table if you have hands around the same size as mine. So that one out of the way, I would say that this one's definitely a great mouse and definitely a good mouse in its price range, especially since it's sharing the same sensor that the most expensive mouse is on this list. Now, the next mouse I'm going to talk about is the MX Master 2S, not the 3, because the 3 is, again, it's going to be around $100, but for the performance that you're getting out of this, it's going to be identical. And quite frankly, I think it's gonna be let's be honest, fine. So the Logitech MX Master 2S is great in one particular way, and that is a vertical, a horizontal scroll wheel. And that is going to be great when you're working or have to use your mouse to actually do things other than playing games, of course. Now, that being said, this mouse is kind of heavy. It's actually it's not quite as heavy as this mouse, but it is close. They are rather thick in the hand. And that being said, it's not going to be as great when playing games such as shooters or games where you actually need a really fast movement. And that being said, I cannot recommend this too much for games, unless you're just playing like a casual game every once in a while. I'm going to open up maybe Call of Duty Warzone or something and maybe play a couple games of that. But other than that, I wouldn't really consider this too much in terms of gaming. But if you want something that can play games, because it does have a great sensor on it, very accurate, and can be tracked on glass as well, because it has a optical and a laser, which is a great thing to have, especially when you don't know when you're actually going to be playing games. You don't know what surface you're gonna have to deal with there. This mouse, I would say, in the price range, I'd say around $60 is about fair for this mouse. You might see it cheaper, you might see it a little bit more expensive, but around the $60 range, this is going to be a wonderful mouse, if you ask me, to be honest. Weight aside, it is really nice, and you can pair it to 3 devices. It does use Bluetooth. It doesn't use the unifying receiver that this mouse uses. So we're going to put that one off to the side there. We're done with that. The next mouse and that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the heaviest one, and that is the G502. It is heavy, and it's kind of old. This mouse I got in 2014. It does not have RGB. That would be the Spectrum variant of this mouse. That came out, I believe, a year later. And let's see here. It does have sections or zones for you to put weights in. I, of course, make sure I weight this side of the mouse because it is lighter technically than this side. And I do like to have a balanced mouse. I don't want more momentum one way than the other. And it does have a nice little, it does have a nice little magnetic plate there. It does use, again, the same sensor as these two. And because of that, you can do the whole whole Logitech G Suite surface tuning. So in fact, when you open up the app and you can add different surfaces to what this mouse is being used for, you can actually start tuning the surface so that it actually recognizes what type of surface this is. So this has a pattern on it, or if you have a mouse pad that has a graphic on it, you can actually let your mouse learn that graphic so that you can end up getting less misreads off the mouse's sensor. It's really nice. It's neat. This mouse does keep up. Each of these mice use an Opteron's switch for their each of their switches in them, which is pretty good, I will be honest. They are the same company that co-developed the Romer G switches that were in the Logitech keyboards that use the Romer G key switch, of course. Now, these switches are, I would say, very reliable. Some people state that you're going to get double clicks or the right click or left click stop working. That is usually due to dust or dirt. Now, I generally don't eat when I play games, but if you do, please keep that in mind. When you do, ensure that you do clean your mouse out every once in a while, like give it a nice little rub of maybe a Lysol wipe to wipe it down, make sure it's clean. You don't want your mouse to no longer serve its use and function. And a lot of people like this mouse. It is an icon, of course, as it uses the frictionless scroll wheel option, which you cannot get in the other gaming mice that Logitech offers. And it is toggleable with the click here of this little switch. That being said, the MX Master 2S does the same thing, except you can just scroll down quickly with a lot of force, and it will scroll down in the frictionless scrolling, and same upwards. It can sense when you're going to be scrolling for a little while there. Nice little feature I forgot to mention, of course. Now, I think that mouse, that's a bit about it for this mouse here. So we're going to move that one off to the side. And finally, this mouse. I would say this is the best Logitech mouse value for money that you're going to get. New, of course, and not like refurbished or used or anything like that. And that is just because it, one, has a reusable battery. Two, it has a wonderful shape if you're right-handed, or you are left-handed and use a right-handed mouse. And quite frankly, the buttons on the side here are wonderful. Unlike the Master 2S, which have buttons that are super thin, and might as well just map both of them to do the same thing. The Logitech G703 has these nice large buttons on the side, which will definitely come in handy quite a bit more often than the others. I would even say the G502, these aren't even as conveniently placed as they're a little lower down near the bottom, which means your thumb has to move off in a little awkward of a position, as opposed to this where it's just right there. So this does have its Rainbow Puke RGB that a lot of people are fond of. I usually just make it yellow and match whatever my PC is using. It does use the unifying receiver, like the other mouse here does. So it is not Bluetooth. It can only be paired via that receiver, which, to be honest, which is fine considering the fact that these are gaming mice, and Bluetooth can often introduce quite a bit of latency. And especially with the new M1 Max using, I think it's using Big Sur. They haven't patched this out yet, but Bluetooth sort of is intermittent and can cut out for a really brief period of time. So that unifying receiver is quite useful, I'll be honest with you. So That being said, the shape of this mouse is, I think, the best if you have a person that has my hand size. It is sloped really nicely. It's very pronounced. Therefore, your hand likes to rest on it much nicer. Feels less like you're on a flat slab. It conforms much nicer. Your thumb has plenty of space to be, even though it does not have a thumb rest. Because these buttons are here, you're never really resting it anyway. And you don't have as much space for your thumb as this mouse does. And the battery life on this mouse is about 3 days. But as long as you charge it every night, I think you'll be fine. If you turn the RGB off, I think it gets you an extra day or so. It does have a nice little scroll wheel light on it as well, and a DPI switch in the center here. That again, this mouse has, and this mouse has up and down. In fact, on here, I couldn't actually map this to do anything other than change the DPI settings, which is actually kind of disappointing. I kind of wanted these to be remappable. But alas, that is just the way it is. So overall, I would say the best mouse in this roundup is going to have to be the G703 when it comes to gaming. If you can spend the full fat $100 or get it on discount for around $70 on Amazon. Again, none of these products are given to me. I buy them myself. If you're willing to pay the big bucks there, I would get this mouse. I believe it's $50 on Amazon on sale. And I think it's about $60 when it is not on sale. This mouse is really nice. It is a good runner-up in terms of mice here if you want to go wireless. But if you don't mind being wired there, I would say the G502 is better than this mouse just because of its shape. And I keep bumping the camera, tell you. So I would say if you don't mind the wires, go with the G502. Or if you can find the wireless variant of this under $100, go for it. It's a wonderful mouse. It has kept me going for 6 years so far with no issues so far. So lastly, if you don't play games a lot and you're not really concerned about, oh man, it doesn't have the best sensor in it, and I'm using Bluetooth and all that, and you're not really too concerned about it, how accurate it is, and you just like how comfortable it is for really long sessions, go with the Master 2S. Unless you think the jump to the 3 is really that substantial. In my opinion, it is not. You can go for that as well, because they are both viable. There. So that is my video, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying making these videos, and I really appreciate your viewership. See you guys on my next one. It's probably going to be on the mic, maybe. Can't make any promises. Or something else a little bit more Mac related. I'll see you guys. Peace.